Hello there, YouTube. This is Jeff, Targeted Individual Jeff again. Just come back here. I thought it was time for me to tell who a couple of my perpetrators was in some kind of way. This has gone on so long, we've never gotten any help. Our whole community and county even knows who's doing this, and nothing ever gets done. But first of all, I'd like to just quote a little quote out of the Bible here. Deuteronomy 27:24. Cursed is he who strikes his neighbor in secretly. So you can see these people, they really don't care about nothing like that. There's all kinds of quotes in the Bible pertaining to what the stalkers and electronic harassers do, and they just keep right on going. But anyway, once again, we've been here at this house since 2009 in this rural area here in southeast Missouri. Most people think it's done with satellite or done from a long ways off or something like that, and it is that way too. Like I said, I was a long haul truck driver all my life. My gang stalking and harassment started in 1988. And I can tell you that the gang stalking and electronic harassment is nationwide and probably worldwide or whatever. But who's doing this here to us right now? Once again, my uncle died here in 2009 of a brain tumor. He wouldn't eat or drink in his house. He was very quiet or whatever. He wouldn't ever tell nobody if he what he suspected, the way he was so reserved and all. But anyway, when we come here after we died, we figured out what happened to him. They used fertilizer and chemicals and sprayed it in their house and on porch and door, and then they can electronically move that around, like put it on your bed and stuff like that. And I'm telling you for a fact that they can do that because I've watched it here all these years. But one neighbor is right next door to me in this rural area. Just right next door. That makes it pretty plain. The other neighbor is about a little bit less than a mile to the west on this road here that's in front of our house. Well, after we come here, I was working on a farm, and I heard the farmer telling another hired hand that they got a wire run down the road from our house to this house down here. There's another vacant house between that house and this house. Those people are involved too. It actually runs to there and then on down to the other house. So why would I leave it there, knowing it's here or whatever? Because my uncle was murdered here with it. And so not too long after we was here, I started getting the forced visions and the forced dreams that a lot of us get. The little video clips when you close your eyes when you go to bed or whatever. And the forced dreams that are long like short movies and stuff like that. Then the next thing I know, the school bus goes down here to that one house, and one of their kids down there goes to school on that school bus. It's the only kid that the school bus picks up on this road. And then the next thing I know, I was getting all kinds of little video clips when I go to bed of kids making faces and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, I started watching the school bus, and then all of a sudden, it's like teachers or whatever riding the school bus because of what they found out was going on. And so the kids stopped. I mean, as far as that in the school bus doing that to me, but everybody else does, especially these two neighbors here that I'm talking about. Like the torturing that I'm undergoing right now. Me and my mother are 85 years old. Her torturing and stuff is a little bit different than mine, but the lights in my eyes, the controlled lights in my eyes, constantly flickering off of things trying to talk to me with lights, is just overwhelming. I'm very sick because of that. Popping the walls all the time, this way and that way, insinuating I've done something that way or whatever. And we got a strong amount of radiation on the front door and the west side of the house. That's even with the electricity off, and always was that way. They was always luring us out their front door. There's possibly a beam coming across the field to the front door and to the west side of the house. I don't know yet for sure. These people are psychopaths and sociopaths, especially the one to the west, to the next door here, the closest. To disrupt. That's what sociopaths are. Psychopaths is a whole lot the same way. But all these people, I mean, nobody would understand all the hundreds of different things that they can come up with to lead your thoughts and all that kind of stuff, and they do that with me and my mom. But like I say, the surveillance is run to the west of the house, and then from there it goes wireless through the smart meters and electric lines, and other people can hack into it wirelessly, and same way with my cell phone and everything like that. Not just one person hacks the cell phone; it all goes through the whole system that they got set up here. So doing these little videos and everything is real hard to try to make appointments or take care of business of any kind is always a problem. You can't even go to the store because they know you're going, everything you're going to do. All you guys know all this stuff. But now I want to go into the politics about me and my stalking and all that kind of stuff. Just a little idea how it all started back in the late 80s when a certain governor was a governor here in the state of Missouri. And I was running back and forth across Missouri and all that. And then the next thing I know is I'd go through Jefferson City, Missouri, in the big trucks trucking and stuff like that. It was like everybody in Jefferson City, Missouri, pretty much works at the state capitol or with state government and stuff like that. Just instantly, like every car in the whole city of Jefferson City knew me and was laughing, and their gestures and all that kind of stuff. Windshield popping, dash popping, and getting microwaved and radiated and all that kind of stuff there. Then another one that was a governor, a different governor, he wound up to be a lieutenant of the Navy and also the leader of the Missouri National Guard. And then another one actually was in on writing the Patriot Act. My father was involved in a little bit of constitutional stuff back then and there, which might have been possibly what kind of got me a target, but there was other things too that I know of in the whistleblowing categories and stuff like that. But it goes on till we come here in 2009 from up in central Missouri. It wasn't long after we here, I seen military helicopters come from towards Springfield, Missouri, and hover over these poles which had been targeting us, and people have been going to these poles with their Wi-Fi screens and looking at things and popping their walls and stuff while they're at these poles, and then microwave us and burn us blisters on my mom's face and feet and me and everything. And but like I say, it goes right back towards Springfield. That's happened several times, and these military National Guard helicopters, I guess, have come back several times, and they go right down our county road in front of our house like they're flying these lines here that all this stuff is rigged up to go through. And so I just wanted to come on here and just mention some of these things that I hadn't before. I'm very sick. This stuff is overwhelming. My health, got 15, 20 different things wrong with my health just because of this stuff. How my mother, 85 years old, has even survived this long, I don't know, other than the fact that she's real strong and she has so much faith in God. And she wants to see some resolution or to be able to live a few days in her life with some kind of peace without something like this going on. So if something would happen to me or my mother or whatever, I'll be institutionalized again or set up and framed. All it's about with me is set up and framing. To lure me somewhere, and then after I get lured somewhere, then something was supposed to happen there, or I was supposed to have done something there, like happens with so many of us, and all that. And actually, I'm very sick. The sleep deprivation, the zaps to the head, the force dreams. If anybody undergoes through that, that's about the most torturous thing a brain can go through. It's a way to cook your brain to send the force dreams to you. And I have these sometimes 4 or 5 different ones a day. And these people actually identify their self. I mean, they animate their own self and send it to me. And stuff like that. But just like the school here all knows, and all the school kids all knows about this part right here, local. The county sheriff knows, but he wants to act like he ain't never heard nothing about nothing like this. His deputies is in on it. The sheriff plays nice, and like he's tried to help us and stuff, and has helped us. And that's the only reason I can understand how this can go on is because of powers to be in higher places in politics. Because otherwise, the one neighbor is a mental subject, a bona fide, real mental subject that has chose to stalk people and harass people and everything that he does 24 hours a day. He's so sick he never sleeps. I mean, literally never sleeps. You can't never find a gap in the action where this guy don't never sleep. So if the government in higher places is not involved in it, then why don't they do something to a psychopath, sociopath like this, that everybody knows he's doing it? And the same way with a wire run down the road to the house, as far as the surveillance of this house, why hasn't somebody done something? Once again, the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment to the federal Constitution. Read it. Everybody knows the Fourth Amendment. Everybody's state has a like Fourth Amendment. It's most of the time even better than the federal Fourth Amendment as far as the state of Missouri is. There's Title 18 U.S. 241, Conspiracy Against Human Rights. And then there's this one here, the misdemeanor one, criminal coercion. Is somebody going out and saying you did something, or somebody trying to just look it up, criminal coercion. It's a law in the whole United States of America. It's just a misdemeanor, but it's a stepping stone to, like my neighbor here, that he's coercing people. He's running around telling people that I've done something or I'm something or all these different kinds of things like that. That's the law itself. Whether you've done something or not, it's not the point with criminal coercion. It's that somebody is coercing something, trying to cause somebody trouble, which has caused me to not be able to get a job anywhere. It's caused me to destroy my health. It's caused me that you can't even go to the store. If I went to church, I couldn't go to church because of this stuff. So that's just some of the stuff that I want to put in on here. I've done some other stuff. I got a few other videos there. And there's just so much that goes on. And from 1988 to 2017, you can't hardly explain the changes that something like this goes through. It just gets down to when you know who your closest targeters are, and nobody will do nothing about it. Nobody will admit it. That's the reason why the whole government's getting away with all this stuff, violating everybody's rights. They won't never admit that it's happening to start with. So if you got a county sheriff that's not admitting it, if you got a governor or anybody in the state capitol or whatever, when they all know it, when they're and they're in on it, then it's time for people to rise up and go all the way to the state capitol or to Washington, D.C. and demand our rights. The Patriot Act don't have a dang thing to do with anything as far as I'm concerned, other than an excuse to target somebody and to let everybody else go and just do these things. So, once again, Deuteronomy 27:24, cursed is he who strikes his neighbor secretly. And these people down the road here are Christians. They worked so hard in the church to make it look that way. They drive back and forth by our house on the gravel road 80 miles an hour. I mean, literally 80 miles an hour every time they go by our house. I always have for 8 years. Maniacs and everything that they do, nasty gestures, electronic harassment, drugging, poisoning, popping the walls. They vandalized over $5,000 worth of generators that we had when we turned off our electricity to see if that would change anything, and tried to literally rig them up in a way that when I would start them up, they would blow up or set me on fire. They tore off the back of our house while I was incarcerated. While I was incarcerated, somebody was acting like that they was helping my mom and actually stole over $6,000 of her money. And like I say, tore off the back of the house, stole over $2,000 of my personal possessions, and just on and on and on and on. There's not enough. It'd take hours and hours to me to explain everything that's happened here just in 8 years. But I just want to get on here about these two neighbors right here that authorities won't do nothing about. And if it wasn't for the wire run down the road, nothing could happen, pretty much. That people can come and wirelessly connect to our house, to our phone, to the torture, to the everything that happens here. And once again, like I say, you could go to the little town here of Holcomb, Missouri, where the little school here is, and ask any kid in the school about what you can do to Jeff's mind with a cell phone. And they would all have to tell. So a sheriff can't find that out, or The local cop can't find that out. Or no, they can. They know.